H&M and Environmental Marketing by Caroline Yu and Eugene Ma. For our research, we will be conducting an analysis on H&M and their sustainability branding initiatives. We will be providing an executive summary, research questions, as well as a brief overview of H&M, the consumer trends of H&M, their climate initiatives, a general critique, recommendations, and an implementation strategy for the company. H&M has taken initiatives like Let's Close the Loop to encourage customers to reduce the amount of textile waste from ending up in landfills. However, the brand still faces the hurdles of fast fashion as they are often perceived as a contributor to environmental waste. As a fast fashion brand, green marketing is extremely lucrative, but requires important credibility strategies in order to be effective. In a time where brand skepticism is high, brands must gain credibility among their consumers. Our research aims to answer three key questions. How do brands convey notions of radical transparency and/or environmentalism? How is environmental activism embedded in ideas of critical consumption? And are the brands that claim to be transparent actually environmentally friendly or carbon neutral? We will be pitching how H&M can boost their brand transparency and their perception as an environmentally friendly brand. Our analysis of H&M will be compared to that of a nonprofit organization, Good On You, that rates the environmental and ethical efficacy of a brand, as well as quantitative reports from Statista, an online German statistics portal. This allows us to focus on the communications of H&M in comparison to the brand's business practices.
H&M is a fast fashion brand that was established in 1947 in Sweden. It is ranked as the third leading apparel and footwear company worldwide and has recently ranked first in the Fashion Transparency Index with 73%. This range of 71 to 80% in the index means that they still need to publish details on supplier lists, manufacturers, processing facilities, due diligence, and processes. H&M maintains 3 pillars of climate sustainability and has released yearly sustainability reports since 2002. However, as a fast fashion brand, H&M has often received criticism for their unsustainable business model. Fast fashion is an industrial trend characterized by its shortened lead time, which refers to production and distribution, and offering new products to the market as fast as possible. H&M has around 12 to 16 collections each year as opposed to a collection for each season, and refreshes their collection on a weekly basis. Due to the quick turnover of products and the fashion industry's reputation as being unsustainable, H&M has adopted green marketing for young consumers who are proving to be highly sensible to social and environmental issues that are reflected in their consumption habits. Consumer trends show that 37% of millennials and Generation Z are willing to spend more money to buy sustainable products. There is also a rise in political consumerism, activism through critical consumption, and that individuals are increasingly using their purchasing power to express their political and moral concerns. Thirdly, consumers are unwilling to upcycling when disposing of clothing. Consumers would rather give old clothes to friends or family or donate their clothes rather than repairing or upcycling said clothing. The most shocking trend is that consumers hold environmental impact higher than issues surrounding animal welfare and ethical wage. However, the ranking between these issues is highly dependent on the consumer's personal values. H&M has 3 main climate change initiatives in order to approach environmental impact: Closing the Loop, their Conscious Clothing line, and their Take Care initiative. Closing the Loop is a program where customers are able to donate their garments to H&M and receive 15% off their next purchase. H&M partners with a company called iCo, short for I Collect, that then takes in the donated clothing to either repurpose or recycle them in order to close the loop of a product's environmental waste. H&M's Conscious Clothing line seeks to be transparent in their supply chains and their social and environmental impact. They have created the Conscious Clothing line, which consists of at least 50% sustainable materials or 20% recycled cotton. H&M provides care instructions for their garments through their Take Care initiative to encourage customers to reduce the amount of water use and reuse or mend their clothing. This will help reduce the need to dispose of garments. Their website contains a multitude of ways to treat and take care of different materials, stains, repair rips, and mend clothing. Now looking into Closing the Loop initiative, according to a survey conducted by Kim and O, consumers attribute H&M's Closing the Loop recycling boxes to H&M being environmentally conscious. However, we found this initiative to be extremely counterproductive. H&M has seen an increase of 40% in their donated clothing from 2018 and receives around 25,000 tons of clothing annually. H&M's Closing the Loop initiative incentivizes customers to donate their clothing for 15% off their next purchase. Such initiatives encourage consumers to dispose of clothing that is out of trend in order to constantly purchase new pieces that will also be disposed eventually. According to H&M Group's 2019 sustainability report, 50 to 60% of donated clothing are sorted for rewear. Many of H&M's critics have also voiced their concerns that H&M's 15% off incentive program perpetuates the sole purpose of the Closing the Loop problem, overconsumption. Furthermore, printing 15% off coupons every time a customer recycles clothing just creates unnecessary environmental waste and promotes consumerism. H&M Group's general manager of global production states that sustainable sourcing poses a huge opportunity, as it makes the industry itself sustainable, and it brings customer value. Much of H&M's sustainable marketing provides a huge opportunity solely for themselves.
The conscious clothing line, as Caroline discussed earlier, has specific green tags to indicate to customers that the attached product is environmentally conscious. Such labeling captures the eco-conscious consumer, but H&M has a very broad definition for the term conscious. For example, it does not state whether the material is made out of recycled cotton or non-toxic dyes. According to a survey conducted by KPMG, a sustainability score or sustainability labeling system encourages viewers to purchase sustainable fashion. H&M intentionally uses a product orientation approach where the claim focuses on the environmentally friendly attributes that a product possesses. H&M conveniently chooses what products and processes to disclose. However, the attributes of the product only tell part of the story. H&M does not detail how or if the manufacturing process of the products are environmentally conscious or ethical. The conscious tag captures the eco-conscious consumer because it's labeled conscious, but does not actually define what makes a product more or less eco-conscious. The irony of the tag is that H&M must print an extra paper tag, creating more waste in order to advertise that they are eco-conscious. The conscious clothing line's green tag is a continuation of H&M's individualization approach in order to increase political consumerism. By purchasing products that have green tags, consumers believe they are supporting an environmental cause. Rather than disclosing their manufacturing process and waste that their products have caused, H&M selectively emphasizes some materials of their clothing. H&M's third initiative, Take Care, encourages customers to take care of their garments as to prolong their use in order to reduce textile waste. Part of the Take Care initiative is that customers can bring in their garments that need mending into select flagship stores in Stockholm, Vienna, London, and Paris. Clothing can either be mended or upgraded. The guidelines of the repair ateliers do not detail when a piece of clothing is considered necessary for an upgrade. Without clear guidelines to this mending process, customers can possibly upgrade for a free garment in exchange for their damaged garment. This upgrade process negates the purpose of the repair ateliers. H&M encourages customers to maintain their products in order to prolong its life cycle. However, fast fashion is characterized by its high clothing turnover rate. Whether it's the quality of the garments or the ever-changing cycles of the trends, the intentions behind the products are not to be long-lasting. In terms of H&M's water conservation initiative, H&M encourages customers to reduce the amount of times they wash their clothing in order to reduce water waste. H&M states that 15% of the total amount of water waste an article of clothing produces occurs post-purchase. However, H&M should be reducing the amount of water waste produced pre-purchase, which accounts for the remaining 85%. This does not include the amount of chemical runoff produced during the manufacturing process. The company should focus on the product's manufacturing process, which involves pesticide runoff into clean water systems. Instead of taking accountability, H&M's initiatives lack transparency and encourages an individualist approach to environmental change, where consumers are expected to take the responsibility to make well-informed choices with the larger public good in mind. According to McKinsey & Company, an American management consulting firm, the future of sustainability in fashion is a waterless manufacturing process. They state that fast fashion is now a large, sophisticated business fed by fragmented and relatively low-tech production systems. Moreover, less sophisticated systems used by fast fashion brands require far more water and chemicals, and they also emit significant amounts of greenhouse gases. Statista, a German inline portal for statistics, shows that H&M has improved significantly in their use of sustainable materials. Within a 7-year span, H&M has increased their use of sustainably sourced materials by 48%. However, a nonprofit organization, Good On You, states that H&M still has much room for improvement. Good On You evaluates brands depending on their pollution, waste, and human rights violations. The rating system is based on a Likert scale, where the average of all aforementioned categories results in a rating of 1, we avoid, 2, not good enough, 3, it's a start, 4, good, and 5, great. Good On You claims to take an evidence-based approach and places emphasis on the transparency of a brand. Good On You gave H&M a rating of 3, it's a start. Though H&M has started recycling programs and positive targets in the 2019 Sustainability Report, such targets are merely goals set for 2040 and are not concrete changes. Furthermore, the majority of the materials that H&M uses is not eco-friendly and does not have the conscious tag attached to all clothing. Therefore, the brand still operates under an unsustainable fast fashion model. Our first recommendation is for H&M to build brand loyalty by creating a sustainability point system for customers to work towards, rather than a simple coupon system. Though this suggestion is a continuation of the individualization approach, such a system has aided in allowing H&M to become more sustainable. While also reducing the amount of paper waste H&M creates, we recommend that H&M consider creating a points-based system, whether it be connected to a card, a customer's email, or a phone application. This will increase their perceptions of as an eco-conscious brand. This also applies to the large paper tags that H&M uses to indicate the conscious clothing line. H&M can easily reduce the amount of packaging they use on a daily basis by simply attaching a small recyclable sticker to indicate conscious clothing. H&M is also focused on reducing their plastic material and packaging. A great option to appear more eco-conscious is to spearhead the movement in which customers must pay for shopping bags at checkout, as well as using paper bags instead of plastic bags. An incentivizing initiative might be to bring your own bag, where customers get points every time they bring their own bags. H&M can also then engage in creating their own line of recycled cotton shopping bags. Much of these suggestions are to encourage H&M's perceptions as a sustainable brand. For many of us know, plastic may be recyclable, but it is not biodegradable.
By releasing quarterly updates of their environmental impacts, customers can see the small improvements that H&M is implementing. This makes the goals that H&M is setting seem more attainable rather than making seemingly unattainable goals for the distant future. Their small incremental growth allows for customers to feel engaged and participants of an environmental movement. However, increasing the number of reports also involves increased transparency of H&M supply chains. By holding H&M to a higher level of accountability, H&M would be encouraged to establish higher labor and environmental standards for suppliers and set up mechanisms to make supply chains more transparent. This would result in increased credibility from consumers. During our research process, we found very little information about H&M supply chains and how they keep their suppliers environmentally accountable. By removing ambiguity and making themselves appear more credible, H&M will gain long-term trust for consumers as well as appearing less sincere. Being eco-friendly is not enough. Consumers. On the topic of removing ambiguity, we recommend that H&M steps away from ambiguous, non-regulated green-speak terminology. For example, the use of the word conscious leaves much to interpretation. If H&M were to clearly define these terms, their customers would be able to engage in critical consumption. In our case study of H&M, we have come to a conclusion that a mismatch exists between the sustainable efforts claimed by brands and their actions. Brands can convey notions of radical transparency and environmentalism by using green speak terms and creating an individualist approach to advertising and programs. By conveying such notions of transparency, brands embed environmental activism in ideas of critical consumption. Throughout the research process, we've found that there's a correlation between radical transparency that then results in consumers engaging in political consumerism.